Hello, everyone. I have got the amazing Victoria McKay with me in our office. Hello, Victoria. How
Hello,
you going?
Karen.
It is so good
Nice
to
to
have
be
you
here.
join me here. We're talking all things A Captive in His Butterfly Glass. Now, we've already done an interview, but we want to have a progress interview and also kind of because each book goes on a journey, doesn't it?
Yes.
And it's exciting. And the birth of the launch of a book is just the birth of the book. We got to raise this baby. And your book has been doing so well. Can you share with us a little bit about your journey?
Well, as I had a delivery of a whole lot of books, and I thought when I saw them, well, maybe I've underestimated how these books are going to go, but we'll see what happens. And I have had very good results from, I think it's about 6 or 7 bookstores now around Perth area, and I've had really good results from just selling over the counter. Some people are ordering online, some people ordering through KMD Books, which is seems to be a very easy process as well. Amazon, we came up against a few bits and pieces, and I think maybe we just ran out of stock because people couldn't get them anymore. But in all, we've sold an awful lot of a lot of books around town. I mean, some of the bookstores are selling 20 and 30 books, which is unusual for a book that is, I wouldn't say self-published, but boutique published, and also a first-time sort of memoir rather than what I've written in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, and we love the cover, and so it's obviously got shelf appeal because our distributors ordering them as well and looking for them for the bookstore. So it's a really awesome read. So the topic in this book, you've actually written somebody's story, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I just want to say about your cover, and I've said this before. Your cover is amazing. People actually look at the cover and want to buy the book. They want to touch it. It feels very nice. So thank you to Dylan for that. It was the only design I looked at. As soon as I saw it, I knew he got my thoughts right when he read it. It's wonderful. Yeah, all your covers are very good, but I think this is one of the best.
Yes, yes, well, yes, absolutely. And we like it when you just know when a cover hits the mark. It's either a hell yes or a hell no. And that was definitely just got it right straight away. So when we released this book, it was based on true events, and you wrote somebody else's story, and you really were very close to this person, so you could capture the essence of the story really well. But things have changed. So share with us that journey.
Well, the few months into the journey, I was doing well with the books here, and the girl that I wrote about lives in New Zealand, so I don't, I couldn't use her as a sort of companion. We could only talk on, or as a business help. We could only talk on the telephone, and she obviously has a job as well over there. And there was always the thought that maybe she should keep everything private, but she reached a point of seeing that this book was going so well, and that she felt she had to help me. And I felt too that would be good for her to be doing something over in New Zealand, because it's very hard for me to work from here and sell books over there. So she decided overnight, that's it, I'm going to go back on Facebook. She'd been off Facebook for a number of years, really because of the situation she was in, and she didn't want to be putting anything up that could be used against her. And she decided, no, I've had enough of hiding. This book has given me the courage to own my story. And she came out on Facebook and said, thank you, Victoria, and so on, and KMD Books. This is my story and it's my truth. And she got some backlash from people who knew, who from the other sort of side of her story. And she just worked through that and said, no, I will not accept. She's become very strong in herself. If you can't be respectful to me, then don't talk to me. But
can I ask you a question that's just, it's on my tip of my tongue, so it's probably in other people's minds. Do you think that you writing her story and giving it a voice not only helped her heal, but helped her eradicate some of the shame around, because quite often with the subject matter that we have in this book, the shame is with the person who not the perpetrator, which is it's with the wrong person. Do you think that helped her to work with that, or with you?
Very much. I think even just working through the drafts of the book that she was able to see that she didn't need to be ashamed. It wasn't her fault, because she always thought it was, that she was doing something that she had to correct. And why is this happening to me? It must be a problem on my part. And the shame of actually being abused is, you know, sits very, very large with people who have been abused. It's the shame of being abused that they don't want people to think I'm the sort of person that somebody would pull out of bed and hit, or would push me around. So she did begin to see that side of herself that was quite courageous. And she was able to look almost down on the person that she had been and say, that really wasn't anything I should be ashamed of. It wasn't me. I'm not the perpetrator. So, yeah, I think there are three parts to this book, I always say. And one is that enchantment, where she fell in love. She was enchanted with this person and the lifestyle that it was being offered to him, and the family that she wanted to create because of her own background. And then came the entrapment. And when the entrapment came, as with most people who go through abuse, they're not really aware that it is entrapment until it's too late to get out. And then came what you're talking about now, Karen, is the enlightenment. And in the book we go through all three stages. And the part about enlightenment is really very interesting to read, how she finds a way through this, and how she's looking back on herself, and has dealt with that shame and able to come out and say, no, this should never have happened to me.
And she's finding that her story is really inspiring, and it's been picked up and being embraced by a lot of people, isn't it now, Victoria?
It is. I'm surprised at the number of people who are reading this book and who have picked up on it. And just this morning, before I came here, I was getting out of my car to run in and get some coffee quickly. And this girl runs out of a shoe shop, and she said, Victoria. And I said, oh, hi. I said, what's your name again? She said, oh, Nikki. And she said, I just want you to know, I've got your book. And I'm reading it. And I said, oh, thank you very much, Nikki. Now, I'd spoken to her probably about a month or so ago. And she said, oh, what's that you've got in your hand? I said, oh, it's a book, and I've written it. Oh, I can relate to that, she said. So here she was. And I'm meeting people like that all the time who are saying, I've got your book.
Yeah.
And I can relate to it.
Feedback is phenomenal, isn't it?
It's fantastic that that people are actually buying it with
and finding it themselves as well. You know, that people are finding it and reading it and coming back to you and saying, look, I've got this book, or I've read it, and it really has changed. You know, it's one of those stories that creates a community around it. It creates just people connect, and it's comforting for some. It's written as a fictional novel, so it's also, you know, it's also entertaining as well. In an entertainment perspective, you know, it's still a tragic story to read, but the drama's there and everything. And you didn't have to go too far away from the truth for the drama, did you, Victoria?
Well, the drama was unfolding as I wrote it, as we talked about before, that I was writing it in real time. So I just was going to be mentoring her through writing a little bit of a memoir to keep herself sane, really, and to maybe actually come to some realization that it wasn't her fault. But as I wrote it, I just hung in there, and we just worked together and gelled together, and we brought this book together. So it was never meant to be that until I really got a grip on this and thought, no, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to write this. I don't know how I'm going to achieve that because of the difference in age, because she's always so much younger. And we talked about on another occasion about her voice and getting it right with her voice rather than me just relating her.
Yeah,
I think we've captured quite well that it sounds like her.
Absolutely. You've done a really great job, and it's a testament to you as an author to be able to harness that and to put it into a book so authentically, and that the actual person that the book's based on relates, connects, and feels that her story is honored in it. Like it's a true testament to the great writer that you are. So huge kudos to you.
Oh, thank you.
What's the hopes and dreams now for this book?
Well, I suppose the hopes and dreams were that I'd sell books, that people would be interested in it. What I do find is, or what I have found, is I've had to sort of alter my approach a little bit, because people weren't buying it as a fictional book based on true events. But now that the actual person has outed herself, so to speak, and she's on Facebook and they can make contact with her, it's taken on another level. And it's, you know, it's that there is actually, the protagonist is actually a real person that they can relate to now. And that's changed the whole aspect of the book, really. And it makes it much more about the awareness. So it was never about, the book was never about profits or selling lots of books, although that's really nice. It was about the awareness of these situations that people find themselves in. And that's why we've got at the front of the book, you know, for all the women who found themselves in this sort of situation. And that's taking on that other level now of that part of the story that I'd like people to see as a great read, as they say. It's very entertaining, it's unputdownable and so on. But it's also a real story, and it happens to people every day. And some people never tell their story.
But in facilitating the story, you're helping make it more acceptable for people to honor their story, and what, you know, and it helps people to heal and connect and to maybe take action that they may have feared taking before, which is just so it's just amazing to be able to be that catalyst for that, isn't it, Victoria?
And I just want to say, Karen, because she was so courageous and just suddenly, you know, came back on Facebook. She's now on Instagram, and she just put this head on and said, "No, I have to own this." It's changed the whole playing field, really, in terms of New Zealand, because in New Zealand, we've got this group called the Backbone Collective who have taken a great interest in it. And these are people who, since 2017, have been working as a group with women who've had these experiences, but working with women in terms of their real stories and using those stories to effect change. And they've looked at her book and thought, oh, okay, we're going to put this on our newsletter and we're going to promote this book for you to read. So that's
because it's a catalyst for change, isn't it?
Yes.
Just phenomenal. That's what happens whenever we embark on a journey, though, isn't it, Victoria? Now, you've written many books, but whenever you put a book out there into the world, it takes on a life of its own. Whenever you honor the journey and set it out there and let it see where it goes, you know, it's like this book has already got a story around it in itself, hasn't it?
It's got wings, you know, and the thing is, it's butterfly is the first part of the book, that first page that you'd read and then decided, yeah, okay, I'll publish for you.
Oh, as soon as I read it, I just knew, and it's just like, it's gorgeous.
But you know, so the butterfly theme is quite a thing. And so on my Facebook, on Lydia's Facebook, and on, I can call her Lydia now, Sarah Lucy, and on Instagram and so on, we use that little emblem that I had an illustration made of the butterfly being this lady with butterfly wings who can't really fly off. So that was the entrapment part of it. And it's quite a nice emblem that we have. And so that's become our little sort of that we use.
It is, and the butterfly is, you know, the whole metamorphosis. You know, you got the caterpillar who goes into the cocoon and then becomes the butterfly. And so this is kind of the journey, though, also, isn't it?
It's also caring about those wings, because it's taking wings and it's flying around. It might be trapped still, but it's out there flying around. She can't leave, but the butterfly can. So it's interesting. I say, it's all on butterfly wings at the moment. The butterflies dropping itself everywhere and saying, look at me, look at me. So you say, what's my hopes and dreams? Well, you know, we've had a couple of people, or one particular person who's very involved in America, and he's a journalist, and he's having a look at this. He said, oh, so what are you going to do next with this? You know, this is a real story that people could be interested in. So Who knows if it will
You
get
never
over there,
know.
if it will
You
get to some
never know.
bookstores there, or
Well,
what's
it is. It'll be a
butterflies
day.
flying.
Wait till you watch this space, guys. Watch this space.
Yeah.
Victoria, thank you so much for joining me today.
Mm.
Guys, go and grab your copy at kmdbooks.com, and we will be keeping you updated on progress and the journey of this epic book. Go and grab A Captive in His Butterfly.
Yeah.
Thanks for
you.
watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.